So welcome everybody for this 18 weeks program. And as I mentioned before, this is during the Chaturmasa or Chaturmas, where this is a special divine Shakti is going around. It is floating from the universe. So that's why we decided to have this program. And the title of this program is Healthy, Happy, and Peaceful Life, which we all want it. And it is a simple 7 steps through Bhagavad-Gita and meditation. Can everybody see it? Just one person tell me. Can everybody see this? So again, I am Satya Kalra. And all these books you see around here is the blessing of Hariharji Maharaj. And my talks are based on these books, counseling others, my own experiences, and love of all. And today's session specifically is freedom from fear of death. And again, this is the 15th of August. It was not planned that way, but it turned out to be 15th of August. So congratulations to all of you, but it's just not the Independence Day for India. We want to celebrate this day as our freedom from fear, which is our bondage, which is our chain. We all are जकड़े हुए हैं चेन से, कोई ना कोई चेन है हमारे में. Some of the things are bothering us. We want to free ourselves, but today the focus is on freedom from fear. And again, it will be based on my question and God's answers, which is Bhagavad-Gita. At the same time, lasting forever, birth, death, and beyond. This is the book I have chosen for today's main session. And this book was dedicated to one of my dear soul who was 26 years old and departed at the last year of medical college. And I used to talk to his mother and counsel her. And she used to ask me all the time, Satya, Raja kahan hoga? And if I talk about it, I get very emotional about it. But this book was dedicated to him, and I learned a lot during those counseling to her, during these sessions with her. And this book was basically dedicated to him. And I have given this book to many people, and they feel like it was a blessing to them. So content of today's session will be, what is body and soul? Who am I? What is the relationship of my body and soul, Jiva Atma, the purpose of my life? How will I achieve it? And how to live and how to die based on the Bhagavad-Gita. And of course, meditation. So today's session, as I mentioned, it is Abhay, fearless, based on the 7 steps of Bhagavad-Gita. Why did I choose this subject? Birth, death, and beyond. It's not that I have chosen it. This was Arjuna's very first concern, fear, and did not want to get engaged in the war because he was fearful that his loved ones will get killed he will incur the sin. And of course, it was attachment and it was fear. And Lord Krishna takes him very first teachings. Go beyond this body and soul. But before go beyond body and soul, he took him step by step. What is body? What is soul? What is their relationship? And why he should not grieve or be worried about death. So he explains him that what are the causes of rebirth? Because Arjuna could not understand any of those things what Lord Krishna was speaking about. So he tells him that what are our causes for birth and death? Our fear, our worries, our attachments, our greed, stress, confusion, all those issues which take away our smile are the causes of our birth and death. But we will talk about later on what is the major cause of our rebirth. So why Bhagavad-Gita? Because Bhagavad-Gita is the art of righteous living. Not just a living, art of righteous living, and art of dying, righteously dying. And Gita is a spiritual guide that reveals us the essence of self-knowledge and unfold the secret of birth and death. This is the only scripture you will find in the whole universe which talks about so much, so clearly, removes all the doubts about birth and death, and what is the death, and what is the purpose of our life, and how can we go beyond the fear of death. So Gita is a royal road to liberation, and again, art of righteous living and righteous dying, which is very important. So what? How about now? Is it okay now?
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for bringing it to my attention.
This is okay. Thank you.
So what is the body? What is Jivatma? We are human beings are known as a Jivatma. Jiva means body and Atma means soul. Spirit is also known as. And our body is made with senses because they are very important to do any action. Mind, which we need to use our mind to do the things. Without that, we cannot perform. Intellect, buddhi, which tells us what is right and what is wrong. And of course, Atma, which is the driving force for us. We cannot move even a single finger without this energy, which is called the divine Shakti, healing Shakti. There are many names for it. And all these are required for a person to function. But what is body? It is a foundation for human life. Without body, soul cannot do anything. And without soul, energy, body cannot do anything. But it is the tree of sanskaras. And it changes every moment. Whatever we are thinking right now, whatever we are doing, everything is evolving, everything is changing, everything is going in our subconscious mind. Cultivation of good and bad karmas. This is what the main cause of our rebirth, cause and effect. So body is a field, a cluster of many lives. why I put this diagram here, image here, and I put it L1. L1 represents life one. And I want to tell you a little story about here. Many years ago, or several years ago, I would say, when we used to have the Gita satsang or Gita class or satsang every Sunday, once a month, by conducted by Ramanandji Bhai Sahib. And he assigned me few verses of chapter 9. And I looked at it and I say, I don't know anything about these verses. I cannot speak about these verses. And then he assigned other verses to another individual. And then I said, why don't I exchange these verses with another individual? Because I know about those. But these ones, I don't know about this. But I forgot. I said, well, it is about the 3 weeks. He just sent the email. So after that, when it comes closer to it, I will tell him to please exchange mine. And I totally forgot about it. Then just a week before, I was coming home. I just parked my car in the driveway and press the click button to open the gate. And my car was right in the middle of the gate and something happened to me. I stopped the car and for 20 minutes, I did not know where I was. During those 20 minutes, I saw 18 of my lives and which part of the life is dictating which part of my timing. So all that, when I saw that, then of course for several hours I was in trance, and so I was not into regular activities. But around 9 or 10 o'clock, I just went on my laptop and just all of a sudden that email came that I am assigned for these verses. And when I looked at those verses again, and I said, this is what I just saw. So the summary here is that Lord Krishna says in those verses, I am the designer of your life. And I designed your life based on what level I would like you to go to next level. Go beyond birth and death. So that's how I prepare the curriculum for an individual based on their lives. So that's where I put it all these. This is the human body. And with that, each L1, L2, L3, you see, these are all the representation of different lives. And that's how the body is created based on our sanskaras. And then God decides us that where we want to go, where we should be going, and then he designs our life. So I put it in my book. He's the best designer. He prepares the curriculum for us like we admit in ourselves in the college, and the counselor gives us the courses for which courses you take for the graduation. Similarly, he does the same thing. He takes each part of our life. In other words, each lesson we need to learn to move to the next level. And he guides us. And then the spirit, the soul, it is a kavach. It is the body is the transitory, but it burns. Even though it's a kavach for the soul, but it burns life after life after life. And that's what it is called deha. But the Atma is eternal, everlasting. We all know that. And everybody knows nowadays, whoever is in the Bhagavad-Gita, nenam chidanti shastrani, nenam dehati pavaka, na chainam kaldyantampo, na shochati maruta. It cannot be cut by weapon. It is fireproof. It cannot be burned. It cannot be wet. So it's a waterproof. And it cannot dry. So in other words, Atma cannot be cut, burned, wet, or dried. It is eternal. And it is pervading and unchanging and immutable. And it is everlasting. And we are made with body and Atma, where body is temporary. It is given to us to go to the next level of our life, learn the lessons and take whatever we need to purify our Atma. We need to go to next level. So what is the relationship of body, mind, and soul? Body is, as I said, it is given to us to go to the next level. Atma is the one, the energy. And there are in between senses, mind, intellect to perform our daily activities. There is a beautiful verse here from Bhagavad-Gita. It is in chapter 342. It says, here is the mind is in between senses. So mind is the one which controls our senses and body. It is the master of our body. However, the soul, which is the highest, and there is a buddhi in between. So Atma guides the buddhi, which is next to it. And the buddhi guides the mind. Then mind is supposed to guide the senses. But what happened? Mind is very powerful. It is like a wind. It moves so fast, which I had mentioned in my previous talks. So it does not listen. Sometimes it does listen to buddhi, but other time it is controlled by senses. And I give my favorite example. If somebody not supposed to eat the sweets or chaat, and if it comes in front of it, then tongue is so strong. It just directs hands to pick up and eat. And later on, mind is thinking, why did I do it? But the tongue was so strong. However, buddhi wanted to tell the mind not to eat it. You're not supposed to eat these things. Before they even start talking about or discussing or giving each other ideas or whatever, or buddhi guiding to mind, tongue, जीभ ने अपना काम कर लिया, senses ने अपना काम कर लिया. So senses, so our job is to be controlled by senses and mind, or controlled by soul. And here again, fear. Fear is the greatest barrier to our happy, healthy, and peaceful life. In other words, listening to our buddhi, listening to our soul. When fear comes, we freeze. We can't even think about anything. Blood pressure goes down or goes up depending on each individual's person. And body goes into shocks. And what is the function of it? Why it goes into shock? Here is the physiology, the scientific reasons behind it. When body goes into the fear, shock, mind, it releases the ACTH, the hormones, because our adrenal glands get activated with that. Release cortisols, which is right around our stomach. And you might have noticed that once we are fearful, as I mentioned, whether blood pressure goes up or down. And sometimes with fear, certain people have to run to the bathroom because the body got so activated, it releases so many toxins, have no control on our muscles, heartbeats, it's shortening the breath. And of course, the impact of all these is weakness of our immune system. It releases the stress. And then what happens? We feel very dis-ease. Dis-ease means disease. Body catches the diseases. We become very unhappy. So it's a very detrimental emotion. But we all have it. And the biggest fear, the study shows that there are many types of fears. Fear of losing jobs, losing health, losing financial issues, especially due to COVID. A lot of fear has come from different areas in people's life, including myself. But the biggest fear, the study shows it is that fear of death. But Lord Krishna says, death is inevitable. When you are born, you are going to die. This is a beautiful picture of that, the birth and death. Whoever is born is going to die. But whoever is died does not mean that that person will get reborn. That's what we have to keep in mind. And so Lord Krishna says there are two certainties in life, birth and death. And beautiful verse in Bhagavad-Gita. Here, Jatasya dhruvam mrityu, dhruvam janmatasya cha, tasmat parihar arthe, natum shochir tumar hasi. Lord Krishna, how easily said that. That whoever is born will die, therefore you should not fear. You should not feel sad. But it's not that easy. That's why this presentation is prepared. So what is birth and death? Death is the interval between two lives. Birth and death are two sides of coins. Death is certain. It is beyond our control, but it is the hardest truth of life. And that is the ultimate reality of life. We all know that. And these are the points I will discuss further on that. Death is not the final destination and it's not an evil act. Birth may not be certain for all, but death is. Death is the number one wonder of life. One feels sad when someone dies, but forgets that one day we will die too. So death is not, it's a divine act. It's not an evil act. What does Lord Krishna means by that? He says it's a natural phenomenon. When somebody is born, he's going to die. But it originates from God. It says that I am the another form of death. And why he says that, to my understanding, is imagine there were no deaths. How many old people will be suffering because the body deteriorates? And they pray at the end that Bhagwan ji ab mujhe utha lo, because they cannot take the burden of that body. And how the world would be so crowded. So God has created his system. So newly are born and the elderly have to leave. The only problem is when somebody leaves in between. And that's where we need to deal here with. So death is not the final destination. The journey of soul continues even after death. And it says, Vasansi jinyani yatha vihai, namani grihati naro parani, tatha sharirani vihai. Jinyani saiti navani dehi means that soul travels from one body to another body until it reaches the purpose of life. And it gives a very nice example or analogy. Vasansi jirani, tatha vihai, like an old clothes, worn out clothes, have to be thrown and changed to the new clothes. Similarly, old body have to disappear, has to vanish and prepare for the new body. So what does the soul takes from one body to the next? Our karmas. Lord Krishna says very beautifully, when the individual soul leaves the body, it takes its different experiences of life, memories, senses, whatever we have collected from one body to another, just as the air takes aroma from the flowers. What a nice analogy. When we are in the garden, not necessarily we are close to those flowers, but we still get that flavor. And the same thing, our body takes, our mind goes with it. Even though the body is burned, but our sanskaras still travel with, which are in the mind, with the soul. So karma is a cause of our rebirth. So karmas, experiencing and expression are the only possession that soul will carry, nothing else. We all know that. So build the treasure of good karmas. As you sow, so you reap. So steps for healing and moving forward. Focus on going beyond the cycle of birth and death and focus on the purpose of our life. Realize what is the purpose of our life. Realize our true nature. We are Sat Chit Ananda. We are in this world as a temporary, but focus on experiencing that who am I? So one who focuses on attending the supreme goal of life, that self-realized soul, enlightened person will know the meaning of life and death. So purpose of life, Sato Mam Satgamya, Tamso Mam Jyotirgamya, Mrityur Mam Amritam Gamya. God, lead me from untruth to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. And then here you see this image, which comes from this verse in chapter 2. Dahino asmin yatha dehe komaram yovnam zara tatha dehantar prapti dhiras tatra na mohite. Based on this verse, Lord Krishna explains Arjuna that just as this body comes, it is born, then it becomes young. From young, it becomes adult. From adult, it becomes old. And then finally we die. So dheno asmin yatha dehe. Just like our dehe, our body goes from a childhood, from a birth to yovanam, jawani mein. And then eventually हम लोगों की death हो जाती है. And this is a cycle, we all go through it. But this is a cycle of body. Soul is everlasting. So we have to focus on the soul to uplift our conscious level, and focus should be lasting forever rather than keep dying and burning body and keep dying and dying and dying. And मुझे जो सबसे ज़्यादा लगता है, this is fine. Birth and death का fear. You know, because I don't have even a slight fear of death, being very honest. But जो मुझे नहीं अच्छा लगता है, which I do not like it, कि अब फिर से दोबारा जन्म लेना, फिर से के दूसरी माँ की कोख में जाना, फिर से 9 महीने वहां पे बाहर उसमें तड़पना, करना, बाहर निकलना, सब करना, फिर अपनी लाइफ साइकिल में फिर बड़े होना, फिर स्कूल जाना, फिर वही शादी होनी, फिर बच्चे होना, फिर इस रफड़े में पड़ना. I don't want that cycle to carry on in my life. So my motive is not to get out of the fear. My motive is not to go into that cycle, this life cycle again. And we all have different motives, different reasons, but I just want to share my motive here. I don't want to go through this life cycle again. And I pray to God very much. But there are only 2 paths. Path of darkness, जिसमें हम दुनिया के रफड़ों में पड़े रहते हैं, complain and all these worries and fears and all that. And that creates the bondage, and that's where the rebirth comes. But the path of light, liberation, spiritual practices, meditation. And भगवान जी कहते हैं, अंत काले च मामे स्मरणम कलेवरम या प्रयाति सा मद भक्तम याति नास्तत्रम संशय. जो मेरे को हर समय भजता है, the person who lives in my consciousness all the time will never come to the rebirth again. So we have 2 paths to choose, light or dark. Choice is ours. And how would we know what is the future of this person who died, or where did that person go? Because if you start getting into this one, you really start analyzing it. कि किसी की death हुई है, what time that person died, and what was the lunar cycle and all that. And then you can, even if you don't know the persons individually, based on that, you will be able to judge what kind of person life that person has led and where that person is going to go. And that's a beautiful exercise. Sometime we get time and we will do that. But today there is not time for that. So what do we need to do? Develop divine qualities. Because Devi Sampad Vimokshai, that gives us the liberation. That's the path of light. And the evil qualities, hinsa, complaining, दूसरों को परेशान करना, gossip karna, all these are the evil qualities. Bondage, this creates the birth and death. That's why I always say, Vishay Vikar mitavo, Papa haro deva. We have to remove those Vishay Vikar, our evil qualities. So divine qualities makes us better and happier person. ये नहीं है कि हमको मरने के time हमको मिलेगा. We become a better and better person even when we are living. And it's a chapter, many chapters have these divine qualities. Chapter 3 में, chapter 7 में, chapter 10 में, chapter 12 में, but in chapter 16, there is a summary of all those. And Abhayam Satya Samsudhir Jnana Yoga Vivastata. These are all the 3 verses pertaining to that one. But it starts with Ahimsa, Abhay, fearless. And Abhay and fearless. Lord Krishna also explains to Arjuna that Bhay is a vices, bad qualities, the tamasic quality. Andhere ka rasta hi humko andhere mein leke jayega. Abhayam, these are those verses I was talking about. 16, 1, 2, 3. Abhayam Satya Samsudhir Jnana Yoga Vyavasthita Danam Dhammacha Yagacha Swadhyaya Abhyasnam Tap Arjavam. So these are all the verses, all the divine qualities. And then he says, Devi Sampad Vimokshai. So how to cope with fear? Now these are the 7 steps. We will quickly go through that. Cultivate fearlessness. Be aware of your fear. First of all, we have to know what we are fearful. Am I fearful about my death or my loved ones? And in my case, I'm not fearful about myself, but yes, I am fearful about my loved ones. And that is the cause of attack. This is the reason why, because it's attachment. So I have to work on that I have an attachment with the person, with the individual. And you will experience also that many people go through this problem. And why, and you hear them, they think about missing that person, but along with missing that person, उनके सुखों को ज़्यादा याद करते हैं कि उनके साथ. I have my bhabi ji, when my brother left, my bhabi ji never gotten out of that room even today, and it's almost 4 or 5 years. She said, मैं तो तुम्हारे भाई साहब के साथ ही बाहर जाती थी, मैं ये काम उनके साथ करती थी, वो मुझे यहाँ लेके जाते थे. And now she's bedridden. She cannot even, she has the 2 nurses 24 hours. And she's not very old. She's about 68 years old. Because her attachment with my brother was so strong, she could not break it. Not only she did not break it, with her attachment, I'm sure my brother cannot move forward also because he sees her suffering. So we don't do fair, we are not fair to ourselves and not fair to, that's what we need to work on it. And then accept it, whatever the fear is. Have faith in yourself, endurance, help others, take care of yourself and do the best and practice, because God, do not fear, because God is in control. So first thing we have to be aware of it and accept it. As I mentioned before, Jatasya dhruvam mritu dhruvam janmatasya cha tasmat parihararthe natum sochit tumarasi. Because when we are born, look at this picture, we have to go through this. So we have to accept it, because we have all come to this universe with a return ticket. Only issue is we do not know which station and when we are going to get off. And so step 3, have a faith in yourself. हम कोई अकेले थोड़ी हैं, भगवान जी हमारे साथ हैं. So have faith, not fear, because lack of faith and fear causes confusion, miseries and pains and leads to sorrow and pains and rebirth. भगवान जी कहते हैं, have a faith. If you do not have a faith in yourself, not only that, you will, at the end, you will perish. While we are living in this world, all the time we keep doubting about ourselves. I cannot do this. Can I do this? I cannot do it. Other person can do it. We are putting ourselves in a misery because we do not have a self-confidence and self-esteem is lower. So we must develop our self-esteem to live in this world. And then he also says in the very last verse of Bhagavad, this is 42 verse of Bhagavad-Gita, Shraddhavan lapte jnanam. The one who has Shraddha, who faith, that's the person who can control his or her senses and will attain jnana, that who I am Satchitananda and I should not be entangled with this temporary world. So one must have a full faith in oneself before they can have a faith in God. Because we are the part of God. And if we do not have a faith in ourselves, we will never have a faith in God. Or we think that we have a faith in God. But if we do not have a faith in ourselves, it is vice versa. So how to deal with grief when things happen in life? And the Lord Krishna says, endure. Matra sparshasте konte, hitoshan sukh dukha, agam paino nitya, tanstiti shasvo bharata. Arjun, learn to endure, सहन करना सीखो. क्योंकि मात्र स्पर्शस्ते कौनते, तांस्थिति शस्व भारता, क्योंकि ये सुख दुख तो मौसम की तरह है, सर्दी गर्मी की तरह है, सुबह शाम की तरह है, दिन रात की तरह है, आते जाते रहेंगे. You hold your own ground. Learn to endure. Your endurance is your pillar to hold yourself. And therefore, you should not be fearful and grieve. So focus on your Atma. Body is temporary. Step 5, help others. Do selfless service. Neki kar kuye mein dal, which is also called Karma Yoga. Do with best of your knowledge for the benefit of all. Sarva bhut hite rata, with love and compassion. Whatever you do, bhav shuddhi honi chahiye. This is what it called. Man prasadam somatvam, monam atma vinigraha, bhav shuddhir itye tapo, manasam uchyate. Mind का तप कैसे करना है? हर चीज में भाव की शुद्धि. ये चैप्टर 17 की वर्स 15 है. There are beautiful verses for chapter 17 की 14, 15, 16. अपनी बॉडी, माइंड एंड वचन का, वाणी का कैसे तप करना है. क्योंकि हमारी पूरी लाइफ गीता 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 गीता, त्याग 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 से तप 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 कैसे करना है. इन चीजों से तप करना है, इन आदतों से तप करना है. सो लव ऑल, सर्व ऑल. सत्य साईं बाबा जी हमेशा कहते हैं, लव ऑल, सर्व ऑल, help ever, hurt never. And then step 6, cultivate fearlessness. Awaken your consciousness. So important. और उसके लिए हमको योगा, प्राणायाम, मंत्रास, एफर्मेशंस, अपने आप को याद दिलाना कि हम सच्चिदानंद हैं, और फिर प्रेयर्स, और फिर उसके बाद हमको पेशेंस, और आखिर में do your best and let go. क्योंकि भगवान जी कहते हैं कि practice, practice, practice and have a patience. शनै शनै ऊपर में, slowly, slowly, slowly you will do that, because This thing is not like a switch. हम लोग switch on कर लें light का और on and off हो जाए, सोचें कितना आसान है. It takes a lot of work. Just like bringing the light in the house. At the end, we just turn on the switch off and on. But prior to that, all the electrical work has to go behind it. Even though you get the electrical work, you put the light bulb, still it will not work. Unless you get the connection. You get the connection with the powerhouse. And this is the powerhouse. Our powerhouse is our supreme power. We have to connect with that powerhouse. And all these practices are like preparing the house for the turning the light on. And then the light will get on in our life. So we have to live in mindfulness every moment and follow the daily spiritual planner. Where here is the practice daily spiritual planner. I emphasize so much on this one. क्योंकि भगवद गीता के चैप्टर 12 में भी क्या है, मैया वेश मनो ये माम नित्य युक्ता उपासते श्रद्धा से युक्तमा जो मेरे साथ जुड़ेगा. तो वो प्रैक्टिस हमको सुबह से लेके रात तक भी, every moment we have to live in that consciousness. So first thing in the morning when we get up, ओम मंत्र which I always prefer, but वो भी नहीं होता है. इतना ही करें कि थैंक यू गॉड, भगवान का शुक्रिया ही अदा करें. एंड थैंक यू फॉर ऑल द थिंग्स वी हैव, नॉट जस्ट कि हमको बेड से उठा दिया, हमारी सांसें चल रही हैं. थैंक यू गॉड फॉर आवर helping me to breathe, to see, to walk, to giving me mind, buddhi, to think, to move around, for the family, for the whatever resources we have. Count our blessing. In Dale Carnegie's course, which I took it, I think many, I think about 35 years ago. First thing they teach you, count your blessings and be thankful to God. Express your gratitude. We have to do that every morning. And then read the message, for example, how to get out of the fear. So you can take a one point here and keep practicing it. And then of course, yoga, pranayama, I said 20. So 60 minutes nahi hai, 5 minutes hai, jitna bhi time hai, but practice, and during the day, practice whatever you need to practice on it, but live in that consciousness. And then in the evening, evaluate, how did I do it? But if you succeed, fine. If you did not succeed, koi baat nahi, kal kar lenge. But do not pound, don't say, main मूर्ख कल कामी. हम मूर्ख नहीं हैं. भगवान ने हमको मूर्ख नहीं बनाया है. हमको नहीं कहना चाहिए मुझे ये नहीं आता, मैं ऐसी हूँ वैसी हूँ. नहीं, हम इसका मतलब हम भगवान की शुक्रगुजार नहीं है कि हम भगवान की नुक्ताचीनियां निकाल रहे हैं कि भगवान हमारे में ये नहीं है, हम अपने में नुक्ताचीनियां निकाल रहे हैं. मतलब हम जो हमारे अंदर जो सोल बैठी है, हम उसको डाउनग्रेड कर रहे हैं. इसलिए हमको कभी भी अपने आप को डाउनग्रेड नहीं करना चाहिए. हमेशा भगवान का शुक्र है. भगवान, हम वही हैं जो भगवान हैं. हम भी सच्चिदानंद है. दुनिया में रह के हम लिपट गए हैं, हमको थोड़े इश्यूज आ गए हैं. वी हैव डेवलप्ड सम डार्कनेस, खराब आदतें डेवलप हो गई हैं, तो हमको उनको रिमूव करना है. दैट्स एज सिंपल एज दैट. वी जस्ट हैव टू पुट द एफर्ट्स, एंड दैट्स वेयर वी हैव टू बी अवेयर ऑफ इट. वी हैव टू वर्क ऑन इट. एंड देन जब सोने से पहले भगवान का फिर शुक्रिया अदा करें, लेकिन उसके साथ साथ एक काम जरूर करें सोने से पहले कि कोई गलती हमसे हुई है या हम नहीं कर पाए, forgive ourselves. कोई बात नहीं, कल कर लेंगे, but don't pound. और यदि किसी और से गलती हुई है, किसी और ने हमको हर्ट किया है, forgive that person. And यदि हमने किसी को हर्ट किया है, ask for the forgiveness. Those are the 3 things we must do from before going to the bed. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I love you. Thank you. And then once we start practicing that, हमारे अंदर, we will develop this peace within ourselves, and our aura will change. It will go to our family members. It will go to our community. And then we become the source of peace, Anandam. So day of liberation will come after practicing. Liberation from the cycle of birth and death. So spiritual practices, self-purification, then we will transform ourselves, and then God's grace comes, and then we experience that Satchitananda, and we are free from, not only free from fear, we are free from rebirth. As Baba says, when once you die, you should not be born again to meet another death. Death is inevitable if you are born. So avoid birth, and death will be automatically avoided. So death is a reminder to all of us that we should not waste our precious time or mundane things on mundane things. Every moment we are coming closer and closer to death. Therefore, we should live every moment and focus on attaining the purpose of life, liberation from the cycle of birth and death, and experience birth. Satchitananda. So this is the poem. As I said, this comes at the very last page of my book. I usually have the poems at the last page of the book. So this is again going beyond and experiencing the Satchitananda. So it read is, I am here for a short while and someday my body will die. But before it happens, I want to enjoy my life to the fullest and fulfill the supreme goal of my life. Freedom from anger, fear, and selfish desires. Freedom from my attachments and vices, means buri aadtein sudhar lo, ho gaya bhajan. Freedom from the cycle of life and death. Freedom from miseries and pains. And realize my true nature, who I am. I am Satchitananda, and then I will last forever. So we are not alone. Almighty is with us. जैसे गीता में कहा है, चैप्टर 9 की वर्स 22 में और 18 की 66 में, अन्य नास्चिन्त्यन्तो माम यो जना पर उपास्ते तेषां नित्य भुक्तायाम योग क्षेमम वहाम्यहम्. And then मन्य मना भव मद भक्तो मद्याजी माम नमस्करूं मामे वेश्यसि सत्यम ते प्रतिजानो प्रियोसी में, तुम मेरे साथ रहोगे, मैं तुम्हें कभी नहीं छोड़ूंगा. And then at the end he again says, सर्व धर्म परित्यज्य मामेकम शरणम व्रज अहम त्वं सर्वपापेभ्यो मोक्षयिष्यामि मा शुचे. दुख मत करो, फियरफुल मत हो, मैं तुम्हारे साथ हूं. सो अब प्रैक्टिस कैसे करना है? Before we go into the meditation, I just want to briefly go over what we are going to do about today's meditation. Basically, how to die. And I don't call it this is how to die. This is basically how to live in a conscious, and I also call it as the Yog Nidra. Before dying, before going to bed, what kind of exercises we should do. So we live in Brahman, not living in the nightmares. And उसमें गीता में भगवान जी ने कहा है कि अपने प्राणों को सबसे पहले ओम को अपने हार्ट में रखो. Focus on your nostrils. Take the nostrils to your heart with your Om. Focus on your heart, and then that energy of Om, take it all the way to your head, your sixth chakra, जिसको कि third eye कहते हैं, and then just park it there. Fill your body with Om, and then you will be automatically connected with the Supreme. And this is how the pranas, when you focus if you practice the time of death, you can take these pranas out of your head and then do not come back in the body. And I can give you a good example. I was in ashram and I had one friend, and she was telling me a story. She said that her mom was like, she was living at home, but she was just like a पूरी संतन थी वो. She says कि जब उसकी डेथ हुई ना, तो उसके सिर से मांग जहां पर हमारा तालू होता है वहां से ब्लड निकला हुआ था. So we did not know कि भाई ये ब्लड आया कहां से. तो उन्होंने कुछ कांटेक्ट किया कुछ संतों को, एक्सपर्ट्स को. तो उन्होंने कहा कि इसके प्राण जब निकलते हैं बॉडी से, तो कईयों के 9 द्वार हैं बॉडी के. 9 द्वार, जो सबसे नीचे के 2 द्वार हैं. किसी का आप सुना होगा कि किसी की डेथ जो है मलमूत्र निकलने से हो गई. उनका जब प्राण निकले तो उनका वो भी हुआ, लोअर पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी प्राणा वेंट आउट। किसी का आपने सुना होगा कि किसी के मुंह से जाग निकलता है और किसी के मुंह से, दैट मीन्स उसके प्राण जो है मुंह से निकले हैं। कईयों का आपने सुना होगा कि उसकी नाक टेढ़ी हो गई, उसकी नॉस्ट्रिल क्योंकि उसके सांस नाक से निकले हैं। कईयों का आपने सुना होगा कि उनकी आंखें पथरा गई डेथ के टाइम, तो वो उनके प्राण आंखों से निकले हैं। लेकिन कईयों के प्राण जो बहुत ऊपर वाले होते हैं, उनके ऊपर के 7th चक्रा से, तालू से निकलते हैं, जो ऑन द टॉप ऑफ द हेड, एंड दैट्स द अल्टीमेट। एंड उसकी मदर का ब्लड इसलिए निकला था बिकॉज उसके प्राण जो है उसके सिर से, उसके तालू से, उसके हेड रीजन से निकले थे। सो दिस इज हाउ इट एक्सप्लेन्स कि ये प्रैक्टिसेस से हमारे बॉडी के प्राण, और जिधर से प्राण निकलते हैं, वन वुड नो कि इसका फ्यूचर क्या है, ये किस, वो हमारे शास्त्रों में है ना कि डिफरेंट डिफरेंट लोक हैं, सतलोक है, नरक है, कौन से लोक हैं, उससे पता लगता है कि ये इंसान कौन से लोक में, और उसके आगे के पेरेंट्स या आगे का जन्म उसका कहाँ होगा, उसके पेरेंट्स कहाँ होंगे, कैसा होगा, कब तक वो इस यूनिवर्स में उसकी आत्मा वहां पर भटकेगी या वो वेट करेगी किसी अच्छे घर की. So that all depends on all these things which we will talk some other times, but due to the interest of time, we are going to sit now for a meditation. And आज का meditation का focus है no more rebirth, पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते. So let's all sit straight. Wherever you are, sit very comfortably. It's very important that you sit comfortably, straight, hips are aligned with neck, back, head. Sukham asanam. पतंजलि योग में कहते हैं asanas must be sukham, comfortable. Focus on your breath, on your nostrils and breath. And take a deep breath all the way down to your stomach area. Fill your body with the pure oxygen. Balloon your body just like a balloon. Hold it. Take an exhale very gently and slowly. And take another deep breath. Hold it longer this time. Exhale. Another deep breath. Hold it. Exhale very gently through your nostrils. Now breathe normally. And with every breath in, smile in. Anandam in. Smile in, smile out. Smile in, smile out. Smile in, smile out. And now recite the Om mantra 3 times, but keep it muted. Do not please unmute. Take a deep breath. Om. Om. And now focus on your nostril. Feel the breath going in with Om mantra. So Om mantra and breath are mingled together like a rope going in and through the lungs, going to the heart. Now focus on your heart. Take the symbol of Om and put it on your heart. Visualize it. That your heart is covered with Om and the pure energy of Om with every breath is flowing from your nostrils to the heart. And continue to smile. Feel that your chest region the heart area is completely filled with Om divine Shakti, a pure energy. And now pull that energy upward, passing through the throat chakra, the throat region, the face region, and park it at your sixth chakra, which is right in the middle of your eyebrows. Continue to do your own mantra with a smile. Enrich the entire head region with pure divine Shakti. Enriched with golden light. This is your home, the soul of seed. Continue to enrich your whole region with Om mantra. The more you recite the Om mantra, the more it will get enriched. The only thing you have to do is just put the Om mantra in front of your nostrils and let the nostril breath do the work. Focus on your forehead region. The breath will be flowing to your forehead region through your nostrils. And now, pull that energy from your forehead, your head region, upward. You will feel there is a connection between you and some energy which is beyond your head region. Moving up and up and up. Do not pay attention to the sensation in your forehead or in the head region. Continue to move up, up, beyond the head region. The pranic energy is leaving the body, merging with the supreme power. It has left the body, merged with supreme power. But this is the very last stage of life. But we are still living. So now we bring that energy back. To our head region, to forehead, face, throat, heart. Keep bringing the energy down to the stomach area, the third chakras area. all the way down the tailbone area, to the thighs. And now feel the body again, your thighs, your legs, your feet. Feel the entire body. Continue to smile. Asato mam satgamya, tamso mam jyotirgamya, mritur mam amritam gamya. God, lead me from darkness to light, from untruth to truth. From death to immortality. Take me beyond my anger, desires, greed, attachment, ego, jealousy, resentment, and any other shortcomings I have. Please help me to go beyond these so I can truly merge with you and experience ultimate purpose of my life, that I am Sat Chit Ananda. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Peace for my body, peace for my mind, and peace for the universe. May God bless us all. Now rub your hands and put it on your head. Just tap your head very gently. Massage your face, your body. And now rub your hands again. Make a small cup. Put it on your eyes and open your eyes very gently.
Thank you, Satyaji.
Thank you. Thank you, Satya.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Satyaji.
As it
It's
says,
very nice.
it says, do not fear because God is with you. So always
Thank you.
How do we
have
fear?
a faith in yourself.
Thank you, Satya.